Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Ingram Jones, and thank you for joining me for Golovkin versus Brook, the post-fight. Apologies, we've not had this week a show, but I'm sure that's totally understandable, guys and girls. We've brought you a lot of great footage this week with lots of interviews with people who have been around or part of the building of Brook versus Golovkin. I guess we'll start with talking about the actual fight itself. I will probably have people dropping in the beginning of the evening, and I think we'll start with Brook versus Golovkin because it's fresh in everyone's mind. And I just want to say, first of all, before I say that, thank you to those people who have supported the channel. I've enjoyed the interviews. And the man coming through now, I think, is the man from America.
Hey, what's going on, man? How's it going?
I'm good, champ. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man.
Right. I think you're going to have to mute your side. And then when you're going to talk, then unmute it. Got it?
I got it.
Hear myself once is bad enough. Having to hear myself on repeat is terrible. Okay, so I've got Bo in the room from Truth and Fact. Is Truth and Fact Boxing correct, Bo? Great. So we've got Bo from Truth and Fact Boxing. Coming into the fight, everybody knew Golovkin was the big puncher. Coming into the fight, everyone knew Golovkin was the most feared middleweight in the world. Coming into the fight, everyone knew that Kell Brook was coming from welterweight to middleweight. I will say this much, that from welterweight to middleweight, you are still going to have that speed and movement that's going to come with you. That's definitely something that's going to happen. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it, that's going to happen. You're going to have natural speed, and you're going to be a lot faster than the guy who's the middleweight. The other thing you're going to have is that you're used to getting hit by guys who are a little faster than Golovkin. So there are two things that I think were in Kell Brook's favor coming into this fight. But I said from the beginning of this fight, Kell fighting off the back foot, being against the ropes, doesn't know how to fight off the ropes. Center of the ring, he came out, he landed his punches, and he started to give it a go. And he'd say if Brook didn't have the power to hurt Golovkin, there'd be problems. And Golovkin, it seemed to me, that was just moving through the gears. He was going through the gears from round 1 to round 5. It's like a world-class fighter. They take time to look at you, take a good look at your style, take a good look at your rhythm, take a good look at, the punches you're throwing, whether you do repeated patterns. And, they take your punches, they slip your punches. They don't take the full impact. The shots he did take, okay, he took them, and Golovkin took them well. And it was an exciting fight, but inevitable. Golovkin comes out in round 5 and really starts to put the pressure on. He really hurt Brook in the first. He did damage in the second round, and of course in the 5th round, we all know what happened there. I don't blame Dominic Ingle for stopping the fight when he did. There are boxing fans out there that want to see Brook on the canvas out cold and destroyed. They want to see that because boxing fans want to see blood, and boxing fans really don't care about the fighter after the fight is over. They'll just move on to the next fighter. For Kell Brook, he's got a family, he's got kids. So for me, I'm really glad Dominic Ingle did what he did to stop the fight when he did, because he knew Kell was in serious trouble after that, because Golovkin moved to another game. He said, all right, now I'm going to put the pressure, I'm going to step on you, I'm going to start putting my real power on you. And when he started really setting his feet and said, right, you can have this now, then this is what happens when a world-class fighter can move through the gears. And he moved into gear round 5, sat down his punches, says, right, I'm backing you up against ropes, and I'm not going to let you off those ropes. And that's what you saw from Kell Brook tonight. I'm going to bring Bo into the room now. Bo, let me hear your views, man.
All right, first off, man, thanks for having me back here on the show. I appreciate it, really. You just don't know how much. Man, props to Kell Brooks. Again, he I didn't even think it would be as competitive as it was. He made it a very competitive fight. It makes you wonder what would have happened had he not had a problem with his eye. And I'm one of those, like, at first when I saw it, I thought, it was an early stoppage, only because as a former fighter, Brooks was still, active. He was still busy, and, he was still moving. But once I saw him talking, I saw how bad that eye was. And I was like, okay, I can, the corner, and he probably was even telling the corner, man, I can barely see out of my eye, And I give him props, man, because there's a lot of guys who've had that type of injury that Brooks had, and they don't come out the corner. He not only did he come out the corner, he was competitive coming out of the corner, But it goes to show that Golovkin's power is the big equalizer. That's really what it is. His power is the big equalizer. I don't think Golovkin let guys hit him. I just think he doesn't really move his head very well. Okay, Kell Brooks showed that if you have decent movement, decent skill with combinations and and head movements, that I'm not going to say he showed a huge vulnerability in Gennady Golovkin, but he definitely showed that, listen, if you have the grit, the mindset, and the skill set, you can get in here with Golovkin and give him some problems. And he definitely showed that. I mean, if you look at some of the punches he was throwing with, when he was counterpunching Golovkin, there was one where he hit Golovkin with an uppercut, and it made me wonder, if a guy, because one thing I said about Golovkin is once he realizes you can't hurt him, he's going to just run you over, right? So
we saw that in round 5.
Right. Yeah. Once he realized, and you're going to run him over. But what Kell Brook showed me is, if you watch round 3, and although Golovkin did good in round 3, when Golovkin gets frustrated, he goes off the game plan. Okay. Yeah. He came at him, he pressured him, but he wasn't trying to jab his way in. He was just trying to bully his way in to Kell Brooks. So if you get a guy who's a mover, and I said this, like if you get a guy that gives. Yeah, right, yeah. Exactly. I was talking to. Right, yeah, I said this to somebody. I said I could see somebody like James DeGale, who's an excellent mover, give you them odd angles. I could see James DeGale giving Golovkin a lot of problems, only because of the fact that here's a guy in DeGale who steps left, steps right, and he has that irky jerky style, which would sometimes cause you not to let your hands go. Yeah, he didn't look good against Molina, but I'm saying that from a stylistic wise, the fact that he has that little irky jerky movement and that that skill set, I could see it being somewhat of an issue.
But Bo, would you not agree with me or disagree with me that DeGale's a guy that likes to fight in spurts, and DeGale's also a guy that likes to sit in the pocket a little too long, would give someone like Golovkin the opportunity to land shots to the body and up to the head?
DeGale, yeah. Now DeGale is a guy who fights in spurts, but the thing about sitting in the pocket is, if he can sit in a pocket and make it an inside fight, because Golovkin does not have an inside, we've yet to see if he has an inside game. So if he can sit in the pocket and make it an inside game fight and not be at the end of Golovkin punches, then the power probably won't be there to bother him as much. He has to watch out for the body shots. He doesn't have to watch out for those body shots. But if he can make it an inside fight, I think he would have some good success. But like you said, because he fights in spurts, I can see that. But and I know people aren't going to want to hear this when I say it, but watching this fight with 3G, I'm even more convinced. Yeah, okay, now I see why you guys didn't want that. That guy named Andre Ward. I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. But now I'm interested in seeing. Daniel Jacobs said that he wants Golovkin, so I'm interested in seeing if he'll take it, because Jacobs has some pop, and the thing is, Golovkin, when he faced the guy that had some pop, and David Lemieux, he didn't try to do what he did here against Kell Brooks. He boxed him. He tried to stay on the outside because he didn't want to give David Lemieux a chance to land a big punch. So that'll be interesting to see his approach toward a guy like Daniel Jacobs. Because I still question Jacobs' chin. When Sergio Morta can knock you down, I got to question your chin.
Yeah, of course. That's my concern. I think, me personally, I'd rather see Golovkin in with someone like Billy Joe Saunders. Do you see why? I think he's fought a guy that's big and strong in Eubank. But I'm not saying that Eubank's a huge puncher. But what you do have in Saunders is a guy who's got a good pedigree, who can box, who can move side to side. He's got lateral movement. And he's a middleweight, a bona fide middleweight. Not a guy who's been moving up. But the problem with Saunders now is he's a guy that tends to stay in the pocket again a little too long. And he's a guy as well that tends to tie down the stretch. He's the kind of guy, again, DeGale and Saunders are guys that box in spurts, but they have a tendency to stand there. And then when they stand there, Then you let the door in for Golovkin. And when you let the door in for Golovkin, he only needs one to put you in trouble, and then he's a murderous finisher. The thing.
Oh man,
Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say Golovkin he's one of the best finishers in boxing right now.
There we go. I know people will say tonight that Golovkin looked open. He looked easy to hit. Remember, that's a guy from welterweight who's not a proven middleweight hitting him. A middleweight hitting him, I don't think will have that sort of speed that a welterweight has. This is a welterweight that's moved up to middleweight. You're going to ask a middleweight, a bona fide middleweight who may come down from light heavy or super middleweight to do the same thing. Very few guys have got that sort of hand speed in the middleweight division. You know, who have you got in the middleweight division who's got that sort of hand speed at middleweight?
The only guy that has that sort of hand speed at middleweight is Daniel Jacobs. The problem with Jacobs is his chin.
There we go.
I question Daniel Jacobs' chin, and that's the big problem. Like the shots that Kell Brooks took, and Kell Brooks got hurt early in the first round, and I thought that was it when he got hurt. But you know, it just showed to show his true grit. But like I said, anytime a guy with a 20% knockout ratio and Sergio Morta can knock you down, and he didn't just knock Jacobs down. Jacobs was really hurt, and this was in the first fight. Now he did better in the second fight, but anytime that can happen, you know, like I said, I question his chin, but that's why, like, it's just interesting because you got guys with pop, but you know, it's either they don't have the skill set or they don't have the chin to last with Golovkin, you know. So that's why I'm like, man, if you can get a guy with Kell Brooks' kind of grit with a little bit more pop, that would be something to see. If you know, how would Golovkin handle that?
Let me throw something at you. I've interviewed this week Tom Loeffler. I've spoken to Abel Sanchez. I've spoken to Adam Smith. I've spoken to Eddie Hearn. And I've asked all of them. And I asked them the one question. Will Carl Froch come back? Tonight, he said he saw weaknesses. Now, if he's seen Kell Brook, you know, put punches on Golovkin and see Golovkin absorb those see Brook absorb those punches, and we know Carl's got tremendous grit. We know he's got a big heart. We know he's got a superb chin, and he's got properly. You know, he'll dig in there. Wouldn't Froch? Don't you think Froch might bite at that? He said he saw. No. He said he saw weaknesses. When a fighter is watching that from ringside up close, and he's saying, I'm seeing weaknesses. He said that. Does not say, I'm seeing weaknesses. You know, he's not big. Brook was giving him problems. I saw weaknesses. Is that not leading us into the possibility that he might bite down and say, I'll take this fight, 80,000 at Wembley?
The only thing with that is I like Froch, but Froch is not the fluid puncher that Brooks is. That's true. Froch is not the straight down the middle fluid punching coming over the top with the Froch can pop. I'll give him, and that's the one thing that makes it interesting is Froch can pop, but he's just not the fluid puncher and fluid mover that Kell Brooks is, because it wasn't just the punches. I don't think is what was giving Golovkin problems. He just wasn't enjoying the fact that this guy was able to move and give him angles that made it a little bit more difficult for Golovkin. If Froch was the kind of mover and fluid puncher that Brooks was, it would be really interesting. But I will say this, though. I do believe you when you say, I think Froch, and hopefully maybe a lot of guys looked at this and said, okay, maybe now my heart courage increased by 20% to want to get in the ring with him. You know, I mean, look, it's going to take like even when Abel Sanchez, and he said it again, for all those that didn't hear, 154 to 168. Okay, now they've been saying this is back when Andre Ward was in the division. There are some guys at 154 that I even think is interesting. You got J-Rock, you got Demetrius Andrade, who's a slick. Yeah, J-Rock has the mindset and the punching power. Okay, J-Rock definitely has the mindset and the punching power, who I think if he got in there with Golovkin, you know, he wouldn't be scared to try to, show, J-Rock got that dog in him, so he's going to want to try to stand his ground. And these are big 154 pounders. I think Andrade is like 6'1". J-Rock is like about 6 feet. So you know, there are some interesting guys at 154 who I think who go up at 160. I'm not going to say that they could beat him because these are, you know, Gennady Golovkin just, you know, he's just, when it comes to his power, it's on that next level. But I just think that those are big guys with the attitude and mind frame and the ability as far as their punching power and their skill that you can look at and say, I could see that being somewhat of a problem for them. But, you know, I take my hat off to Gennady Golovkin for the, you know, for even breaking his, or if he broke his orbital bone, you know, that was I mean, that's, you know how hard you got to hit somebody to break their orbital bone? That's
Exactly.
That's some power. That's some definite power. It's just, like I said, Golovkin, when he fights a guy like a David Lemieux that has some power, he's not gonna bull rush him. He's gonna try to outbox him. And when he fights a guy that he knows don't have nothing for him, he's just gonna bull rush, put the pressure on him to get him out of there. And that's the intriguing thing is when he goes like he's only able to be hit like that when he bull rushes you. But when he's boxing you, like he did with David Lemieux, when he's boxing you, you can't hit him like that, you know. And that's, I mean, I like the fact he changed some gears.
He had no respect for, let's be honest, he had no respect for Kell Brook. He had no respect for his punching power, to be honest. He had no respect because he just tried to just bull rush him. Just kept trying to bull rush him all the time. You know, I didn't see him step back and start flicking the jab. He started using the jab, but he was using the jab to back Kell against the ropes because Kell can't fight well in his back against ropes. I've always said it. So that's what Golovkin was doing. Doubling up and tripling up jab, putting Brook against the ropes, and then firing shots to the body and to the head. I mean, if you look at the fight from the beginning of the fight, that's how Brook got himself in trouble. Back against the ropes, and Golovkin furnace chopping over hand rights. Now, I've got to bringing people into the room. That's Bayloric style. We're going to bring people in the room and hear what people have got to say. There's a lot of comments in the room. We have almost 80 people in the room watching at the moment. So let's get these people in the room. Good evening to Jim Wilson. Jim Wilson says, great interview you did with Eddie about the promotional side. Thanks a lot. Fighters' rights. Yep. Then we've got Matteson. I think Matteson 22 says, in my opinion, the only fully fledged middleweight who could really challenge GGG is Pirog. That's interesting. Pirog. Jacobs would KO Golovkin. Whoa, that's a big statement. Brook fought unbelievable fight. Well, definitely agree with you there. Jim Wilson says, Gennady Golovkin looked very sloppy, had a little bounce in the legs, was just walking across the ring. I think he took it very lightly, but does it not show professionalism? What do you think, Ingram? Well, I don't know. I heard rumors that Gennady wasn't well coming into the week of the fight. I went to interview his doctor, and his doctor refused point blank for me to talk to him. I said, can I get an interview? He's like, no, not really. I said, come on, let me have a little bit of an interview. Let me talk to you a little bit about, you know, his health and stuff. And because I didn't want to hear any excuses. I didn't hear when he wasn't well the week of the fight, but I kept hearing those rumors over and over again. I don't know how true those rumors were. I didn't hear it in the post-fight. I don't know if we'll hear it in the post-fight interviews, but there was rumors about him not being well, but that could all be excuses. He cannot do it against Canelo because the judges would rob him. Your thoughts about that, Bo?
He could do that against Canelo?
Yeah.
No, and here's the thing is, this is the reason why Canelo has a really good chin. I've seen Canelo get hit with some good shots. Canelo has some good punching power and a decent skill set. I just think if they just go ahead on and make the fight, it would be an interesting fight. I want to go back to that statement that one guy made about Pirog, though. I totally agree. Remember, people got to remember, Pirog and Golovkin was supposed to fight when Pirog beat Daniel Jacobs, but he had that accident. He had that accident that hurt his back, and Pirog had that mindset. He had a good chin, great punch, and was a dog.
Yeah,
that would have been a very interesting fight. Now, I agree with Pirog if he was still around. Well, we would have saw that Pirog fight to begin with.
Yeah,
and that would have been the telltale sign for me.
Absolutely. Modern Broadcaster says Brook was getting badly hurt in there. It was a good stoppage. I agree. There are people out there in boxing who want to see a guy get knocked out, spark cold, and get seriously hurt, and they don't care. As long as they see a clean knockout, that's what they're about. They don't care. Boxing fans can be heartless, and it's sad, but it's true. Jim Wilson says, having said that, Sky Sports were counting punches that weren't scoring for Brook. He was hitting GGG's gloves, and Sky Sports saying they landed clean. He did land clean, but much less than they said he did. Sky were acting like Golovkin was taking a beating every punch. Jim Wilson continues, But I say it's a case of how powerful the Sky Sports machine and commentators can brainwash the public. I totally agree. Marston22 says a good big un beats a good little un. Jim Wilson says GGG's power killed Dominic Ingles' voice, couldn't speak. Master D says all the casual booing Brendan was annoying. Harte says Eubank Senior would have beaten GGG in his prime. What do you think, Bo?
Eubank Senior?
Yeah, you fighting Golovkin in his prime. Big heart. Good
you know what? That's a very interesting and almost probably a very good statement. I can actually see that being true. If you ever watch Eubank Senior in his prime, the guy wasn't just you know, a lot of people remember Eubanks as being the showboat and the talker. No, when he got in that ring, Eubanks Jr., he had some skill, he had a good chin, and he had some pop and some good freaking footwork. The man had some good footwork. So yeah, I could definitely see like I don't see. He had the same skills that Eubanks Senior had. I don't see in Eubanks Jr. I'll put it like that.
I agree with you there. I think Eubank. The one thing I would say is a weakness for Eubank coming against a Golovkin fight. He never liked body shots, and we know Golovkin's he loves body shots. That's why he swerved on Mike McCallum. He swerved Mike McCallum. Yeah. He swerved it because he knew that McCallum was a body puncher. He said, "No, I don't want that."
Yes, he did.
You know,
another thing about Eubanks was he didn't like fighting high output fighters either.
Yeah, that way you saw that against Steve Collins twice. Let's see here. Brook, I don't respect his power. Round 1, eye socket gets broken by one punch. Anthony Cullis says Saunders would be lucky to see second round. Only 168 pounder could be with him. Needs to move up to be a great. Thoughts?
Yeah, Gennady, listen, I understand what he's saying about him wanting to get all his belts, but the problem with that is if the last guy that's holding that belt don't want to fight you, then you have to you have to look at moving up. If you want to justify your legacy, you have to think of moving up. And I agree with that. He's gonna like to justify that everything we're hearing about. I mean, we see the talent there, we see it all there. He's gonna have to move up, or he's gonna have to make it very interesting for Billy Joe Saunders to get in that ring with him. But yeah, at this point, he's 34, 35 years old. So I can't really sit here and say it's a necessity for him to move up because, you know, this is the tail end of his career. But if you want to prove that nobody from 154 to 168 can deal with your power, then you may have to fight at least one 168 pounder, which is why if Froch is thinking about coming back, now's the time to do it.
Absolutely. Brook was Carlita says Brook was doing the cha-cha around the ring and running like a bitch. He's Sky Sports butt fuck. Brook, with all his praise, Brook did not hurt Golovkin once. What are your thoughts on that?
Anybody that wants to sit there and tell me what I saw with my eyes, that Kell Brooks was running around like a bitch, really need to reevaluate what you know about boxing. Okay? The man over the bone didn't get broken because he was running. You know, people on Facebook and on Twitter isn't singing Brooks' praise because he was running. And if you watched it, Gennady Golovkin's nose wasn't bleeding. Gennady Golovkin wasn't getting frustrated because Brooks was running. All right? So that right there, yeah, Brooks stood his ground. Brooks hit him with some counter punches. I mean, whoever said that about Brooks using that right there, you need to reevaluate what you know about boxing. I don't think he hurt Golovkin, but I think some of the punches may have stunned. Yeah, right. May have stunned him to the point he realized this dude isn't playing with me anymore. You know, he's for real. He's really trying to beat me. So I don't think he hurt him because I never once saw Gennady Golovkin wobble or something like that. Yeah. So he didn't hurt him, but he definitely got his attention. But
I think it's more the anticipation. You know, when you're anticipating or you want to upset and you're cheering somebody on so much that you're looking to see them hurt. So any little movement a person makes, it's like, oh, he rocked him. You just hoping to hold on to things. Yes, he threw punches, and he's a guy throwing punches back at another guy. So there's an impact that's there. But whether that impact had a significant effect on Golovkin moving forward, no, it didn't.
No, and
So he punches you.
I totally
So he
agree
punches
with
you in
you.
your face. It's like he punches you in your face. Even
Yeah.
if a baby flicks you in your nose, your natural reaction if you get flicked in the nose, you're gonna pull back. It doesn't mean that
That's
you know
true.
they flick your nose. You're just moving back to your reaction. That's the brain and the body reacting. But to say he was hurt, I didn't see his leg do a dance. I didn't see him wobble. At what point you see Golovkin shaken to his boots and clinging for dear life? You didn't see that. You saw him take punches, and because he doesn't move his head, it looks worse than it actually is. But to say he was rocked and badly hurt, come on, man. Come on, man. No,
he wasn't rocked and badly hurt. And to say that Brooks was running and call him a bitch, like again, that's just it's the reason why guys like me and you do what we do, because stuff like that really irks me, because this dude showed every bit of heart that there is to show that we have not seen from guys 160 who at the top of 160 has shown us. So, that just bothers me.
Here's an example. He put a better showing on than Matthew Macklin, the bigger middleweight. Put a better showing on the Rubio. Go ahead.
You know what? Tell me how you feel about this. I feel like Brooks' performance with 3G was better than Khan's performance with Canelo.
Yeah, I think so. But here's another thing. It's a sad thing that as people want to go on the Gennady Golovkin hype train, I've said it before and I say it again. This was Gennady Golovkin's first premier fighter, I think, in his resume. When you look at it, he got a guy that hadn't been beaten, a guy that was a world champion, a guy that was recognized as one of the best in the division, in the top 3 in the division. This was the first time. This was his first marquee name on his record, and he had to come from 2 weight divisions down to be his first real marquee name. Your thoughts on that?
I agree. If you look at his resume, some people say Martin Murray was his biggest win because at that time when Martin Murray was ranked in the division. But if you want to tell me on a skill level and on a world-class level, Kell Brooks was the best person that Gennady Golovkin in face. And actually, we've seen why he was the best, because Kell Brooks gave a very good account for himself, man. I mean, and I think I said this once and I'll say it again. For anybody that wanted to tell me Kell Brooks was ducking Errol Spence, you don't duck Errol Spence to fight a Gennady Golovkin. So, I can't say that. And then looking at Spence don't move his head that well, like Golovkin don't move his head. So now I'm curious as to how Kell Brooks would fare against, how he would have fared against Errol Spence. But I mean, he's not going to go back to 147.
How about this? How would Errol Spence have done against Gennady Golovkin? There's something to throw up there.
Yeah. You know what? Errol Spence is a very good body puncher.
Yep.
And Errol Spence, like Kell Brooks, is a big welterweight, because remember, Errol Spence competed at 152 pounds, 154 pounds in the Olympics. So, he's a big welterweight. That's very interesting to see, because Earl doesn't move his head either. But Earl is also a big puncher, a big body puncher. That would have been interesting to see.
He pulls straight back from punches as well, Errol Spence, and he doesn't have a lot.
Yes, he does.
The variation. He seems to do the same things over and over again. He moves in straight lines. He pulls back in straight lines. He doesn't give you lateral movement. He's a sitting duck for someone like Golovkin, I think.
No, and I can't argue with that, because Errol Spence does not move his head. And then, like Golovkin, he's a come forward pressure fighter. So
there you go.
His eyes, and then actually, he admires his work too much. He does. He admires his work too much, man. Yeah, he admires his work too much.
Yeah, it'd be admired it from the canvas. There we go. Angel Blackwell, apologies for people in the room at the moment. I'm not getting to their messages. It's me who's moderating tonight in terms of getting through all the messages. And there's this room is packed tonight. We've got almost 100 people in the room watching at the moment. So bear in mind, I'm going to try and get through most of them. I'm going to skip a lot of the silly comments and the stupid comments, and I'll get through some more serious comments. Comment here from Angel Blackwell, Blackwell X, who says something a little different. He says, the fight will stop too soon. I paid for a full fight. If you're going to promise me a war for my money, give me a war. What are your thoughts on that?
I think he should grab his phone, go to Google, look up DKSAB. You don't know shit about boxing, and take a very, very good look at Roger Mayweather picture, and you win that award. you got a war. That's the thing. You got a war. You got a warrior in Kell Brooks and a warrior in Gennady Golovkin that gave us everything they have. And if you complaining that you know, when you pay for a fight, you pay to see two guys give you everything they got in the ring. You don't pay for it to go, you know, you hope it goes 12 rounds, but you pay to see two guys give you your money's worth. And that's what I think you got. So if your complaint is it didn't go 12 whole rounds, then again, I have to ask myself exactly what is it you know about boxing.
Angel continues saying, I don't care. I want to see a legitimate enter fight, not a towel.
Okay, well, again, if you study the history of pugilism throughout boxing, when trainers have felt a fighter has been in trouble, that's the purpose of having you throw in the towel, is to protect your fighter. Kell Brooks is still a human being who has a family and people that love him. So sometimes you have to protect your fighter. Too many times, this year, you know what? Pritchard Cologne. Go look up Pritchard Cologne. He's in the hospital right now because of people like you with that type of thinking.
Okay. J124 regular says, if Froch came back against Golovkin now, he would have his brand new nose pointing at a 90 degrees angle. Kevin Borrett says, LOL, 80,000 Wembley, Froch would be big enough. Cartilio comes back and says, Eubank is a certified bitch and has only fought bums. He fought Saunders and lost. He's only recognized because of his dad. He's not even a European level fighter. No. Okay. Let's see what other people. Let's see what people saying. Let's see what we've got in the room now. Do you think now this fight is to open up the possibility of Brook versus Khan?
No, because I think Khan is going back to 147. He wanted Danny Garcia, and I don't think Brook is going to go back to 147 because we know Brook, what he came in at 176. That's light heavyweight, so that's going to be hard for him to make 147 now.
There was a comment GGG said game over. What does that mean? Was he saying game over to Golovkin's to Brook's career?
No, I think he meant game over as far as, you know, the fight. Like, you know, once he realizes that, okay, you know, I got to get this guy out of here, then it's game over as far as that.
Okay. Angel Blackwell X says, don't promise us a war and stop it at the first sign of trouble.
Well, the first sign of trouble was the first round when the man got hurt. So he didn't stop it at the first sign of trouble. He stopped it when he realized that his fighter career in life and his ability to see out of his eye may have been in danger. That's when he stopped it.
Marky Bier says, casuals booed. Yes, Brook was taking shots, but his legs looked solid, which he should have had the chance to go through the round.
Speaking as a former fighter, I probably would have wanted to see more. And if you look at Kell Brooks, he put his hands up because he didn't like the fact that the towel came in. But we don't know what was being said in the corner during the break. We don't know what they told him. We don't know what Brooks told them. All we can be assured about is, regardless of what was going on, he still came out and fought like a warrior and showed UK and fighter pride.
Do you think Gennady Golovkin saw this fight as more like somebody says he took the fight more of a sparring session than actually a real fight?
You know, Gennady Golovkin from jump had said that, and he even said after the fight that, you know, Brooks was too small. He said it before the fight, he said after the fight, he even said it during the fight. So I think he came into this fight thinking that it wouldn't be as difficult as it was. And when he realized this dude is serious, and from what I heard, I think they said Brooks was ahead on the scorecard. So, and Golovkin's not crazy. Golovkin knows he's fighting in his man's backyard, and he realizes that he's giving me a bit of a hard time. He's thinking to himself, probably, you know what, I could probably lose this fight. I got to do something. I got to stop this and end this now. And once he got that frame of mind, he turned it on.
Dr. Spock says, from what I heard, he had food poisoning. Gennady Golovkin.
You know, that could be true, but food poisoning, that could be true. But the way Golovkin fought tonight, and the way he ended Brooks, like the way he was throwing his punches and fighting tonight and ended Brooks, I don't think it was something that severe, because food poisoning, once, that's something that can really cause your body to be dehydrated show lack of movement.
I will say this much. When I was at the press conference, I was close to Gennady, and I do know that his team were very short on interviews, and he left the actual area where you do the interviews. He left very early indeed, and he was out and he left. Tom Loeffler was the one that stuck around the most. Abel followed Gennady out of the building to do interviews, so he didn't do interviews with even some of the big names there who do boxing interviews. So I don't know, there was obviously something up there. And even when I went to talk to the doctor, when I went to try and talk to doctor, the sense I was getting from the doctor, something wasn't completely up. Do you understand? You know when somebody looks you in the eye, you ask the doctor, yeah, let's do an interview, and you look him in the eye, and you give him a look, and he looks at you, and he looks down at the ground. I said, is everything okay? He looked at me, he looked down at the ground. He says, no, I don't want to do the interview. So to me, I said, what's going on here? Yeah, so that's why I tried to ask the interview, because I held on. The doctor's right here, and I see the way the doctor was, all his body language, the way he was moving around, and he was around Mauricio Suleiman and Alberto Leon, and they were two of the WBC officials, and he was actually Gennady's doctor. So, and I was trying to sneak in there, because I had this feeling I should go and talk to him, but he kept looking at me and then give me side looks. And I was saying, you're going to come and talk to me? You're going to come and talk to me? So I said, oh, yeah, you mind if I... and the doctor's actually a brother, so I thought I could always try that brother thing with him. But that didn't work. He just kind of looked me up and down and said, no, it's all right. I'd rather not. So, by the way, just shout out to Light Cycle, Third Eye. Thank you very much. And I appreciate it. Thank you. We've got lots more people in the room. Abel Sanchez said all the rumors were untrue. He said Golovkin was fine. Well, so I'll have a talk with Abel. I'll give him a call in a moment and see what the situation was. Notorious Box says, why? Jim Wilson says, I think GGG was sick somehow before the fight, so I rate him highly. Future 7 says, I think Kell was dropping his hands too low at the end, wasn't defending himself properly. If the fight wasn't stopped, then GG would have landed the bomb on Kell. I think so too. I think some people would prepare to see Kell get actually knocked out. So not really great there. Let's see what people are saying here.
I think one thing people got to understand is that when you're well conditioned as a fighter, a well conditioned fighter, if anybody watched the Easter versus Comey fight, a well conditioned fighter could take a hit and not go down. So, sometimes you have to make a judgment call about when to stop a fight, because a well-conditioned fighter necessarily doesn't always go down because you're conditioned, but it doesn't mean that you're hurt taking punishment.
Okay. One fantastic fight. Wayne Lovett says, one fantastic fight and one very proud British boxing fan. Brook showed somewhat unorthodox. Okay, yeah, Brook did well. Brook's trainer is too emotional. Yeah, but he's too emotional. But you know what? I'd rather train like Dominic Ingle in my corner, rather than one that would allow me to take a beating round after round after round. I don't want to have to take people back to Nick Blackwell, but that sort of situation where your fighter clearly has no chance of winning the fight, he's taking a beating, and you'll send him out round after round after round. And then afterwards, you're the same people that want to turn around and say, oh, poor Nick Blackwell, now the guy's not got a career. You think if you'd pulled that guy at 2-3 rounds beforehand, he may be fighting another day. Now the guy's not got a career. He's not boxing no more. But people say, oh, now maybe we should have pulled him out the fight earlier. It's too late. So I would rather defend Dominic Ingle for what he did tonight. Kell Brook can fight another day. You've got a good fighter that could be ruined, who could still be ruined after this fight, because we don't know how bad the damage is to the eye socket. So
I agree. We don't know.
Who knows? We don't know. So Jim had Gennady Golovkin in the lead on points. I mean, I heard rumors, and I had these rumors are that if the fight went to points, there was a possibility that Brook would have jobbed Golovkin on the cards. I don't know how true that is, though.
throughout boxing, people have always felt that hometown favorite, there was always an edge for a hometown favorite. So if you fight a guy in his own backyard, you got to prove that you beat him. The fact that I think Eddie Hearn said Brooks was ahead on the scorecard, you know, so I can definitely understand the people's mindset, but oh man, that's hard to see because Eddie Hearn can tell me Brooks was on the head of the scorecard, but until I actually hear what the numbers were, you know. But yeah, I understand that because boxing has always been that way.
I tell you what, for me, as a Brit listening to the commentary, it's very hard to not get sucked into the mind control garbage that Sky Sports give you and fill you with. I would have to go back and look at that fight again because quite emotional that fight. There was one side of me saying, well, all right, Gennady, show me how great a fighter you are tonight. And then the other flip side was like, well, okay, Kell, tonight, you're the special one. Show me how special you are tonight. And then you're saying, I don't want Kell to get hurt, but I want Gennady to show me how good he is. So for me, I was kind of happy the way the fight ended because I got to see a little bit more about Gennady. I got more to prove the point of what I've been saying before about him, that he's not invincible, that there's no way you'd put this guy in a ring with Sugar Ray Robinson. People say he's the greatest middleweight of all time. I would argue that he would do well against someone like Marvin Hagler, although people say that Marvin Hagler is not a heavy puncher. He's just a consistent puncher. But Hagler had, you know, he's got heart, he's got guts, he's got heavy work rate. You know, Hagler, Ray let it hit with tremendous power, great hand speed. I mean, you try and put Golovkin in with a guy like that, you know.
Well, here's the thing about Hagler.
Yeah.
When you talk about dogs, Hagler is the alpha dog. Hagler had a chin. So when Tommy Hearns hit Hagler, it pissed him off. That's how, you know, and Hagler's skill set is something that Golovkin has never seen ever. You talk about a guy that go lefty to righty, fight on the inside, fight on the outside, can close the gap. And Hagler came forward and didn't stop coming forward until you went backwards.
The thing is, a guy like Golovkin who doesn't move his head, can you imagine him now being on the end of a Hearns' right hand?
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, ooh, yeah.
Now we're talking about guys like Julian Jackson, talking about guys like Gerald McLennan. Imagine Gerald McLennan getting in the ring in him. And
Gerald McLennan was an excellent body puncher, and Julian Jackson had that one stop knockout power. The only thing about Jackson was his chin.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the biggest thing about Julian Jackson was his chin, man.
But Jacobs has got that sort of punch power, has he not?
Yeah, look at James Toney. 3G couldn't be James Toney. Roy Jones Jr. Bernard Hopkins. You know, so I give him credit. Listen, I don't take nothing away from 3G because it's not his fault. This is the era that he's born in, and the division is the way that it is. That's not his fault at all. Period.
Absolutely.
Okay, but I will say that the sad thing about him being in this era is, unlike the era of the fighters we're talking about, those guys fought each other, and in this era, it seems like you don't have to fight a guy if you don't want to, and still continue to fight without suffering any consequences.
Somebody said, Jacobs, that's a laugh. He'd get smashed. I know you say Jacobs would get smashed. You just saw Gennady Golovkin in the ring tonight with a welterweight who moved up to middleweight. You're now talking about a bona fide middleweight who can punch. So I know you say he's got no chin, but at the same time, he's got a tremendous punch. And Gennady Golovkin doesn't move his head. So I think something's balance themselves out there. Okay, he hasn't got a great chin, Jacobs, but Golovkin's not just going to walk in there and hit him on the chin. He's going to have to take something. So
and again, I go back to David Lemieux. David Lemieux was a guy with a punch. Gennady Golovkin boxed David Lemieux. He didn't try to bull rush David Lemieux like he did Kell Brooks. So against Daniel Jacobs, because he knows he can pop, he's going to try to box him. So he's not going to try to bull rush him in there because he knows something will be coming back at him.
Yeah, absolutely. Notorious Boxers, I want to see Miesha Joy Phelps more and her laugh. Give her a full-time job on Sky Sports.
I agree. Here's my wife. Yeah, okay, I agree.
Okay, for those of you who don't already see it, check out my exclusive interview with Miesha Joy Phelps. It's on this channel. Check out my interview with Eddie Hearn as well, talking about promotion, talking about boxers' intellectual property, cash cows versus guys that who get thrown under the bus. We talk about all those things. Something very interesting for you guys to check out. Ingram, your co-host looks like Bob Sapp. Bo, are you really Bob Sapp in disguise?
No, but I wouldn't mind Bob Sapp's money.
I want to go back to a fight that happened earlier on tonight. 2 fights. I want to go back to that fight. I'm really upset. The Stewie Hall fight against Lee Haskins. Okay, there's nothing worse than watching a boxing bout, a really interesting boxing bout, and it goes to the scorecards, and you're saying to yourself, all right, this guy, it could go to the scorecards, it could be draw, he could lose by a point, he could win by a point. It's that sort of a close fight. And you end up watching a fight and you see the scorecards being 117 to 111. And you think to yourself, what was that? What garbage is that? These are professional judges. Professional judges making a decision on a world title fight. A person who spent maybe 10 weeks, 12 weeks, 16, 18 weeks. I don't know how long you're training for. You take time away from your family. You put investments in sparring partners and all this stuff. And you've got one idiot or 2 idiot judges that decide to judge and make decisions that are just stupid. I cannot stand seeing that in boxing. I cannot stand seeing it.
You know what? The problem that you have is, I often wonder, what is the criteria to be a judge? And I know everybody judge a fight differently. I know everybody view a fight differently, and that's not my concern. My concern is when you clearly see a competitive fight, when you clearly see a fight that's close, and like you said, when you say to yourself, okay, I can see it being a draw, or I can see this guy winning by 1 point, 115, 113, or 114, 113, or whatever the case may be, but then you hear 117, 111. Mm-hmm. You have to ask yourself, man, where are they finding these guys, and how are these guys still judging fights? Like the one female judge who seems to always turn in the same scorecard. It makes you like, why are you still getting, like, I'm of the mind frame, when you turn in a scorecard like that for such a close fight, like seriously sat down, talked to, and told, okay, you know what, you're going to go down to Division A boxing and judge that and work your way back up, because there's no way but throughout the history of boxing we've seen that. And again, I would love to know, what is the criteria to be a judge?
Be able to take a backhander? I don't know. The other thing is, Adlin Smith, again, is terrible commentary. He made a statement that Tyson Fury and Team Fury made a hoo-ha over the canvas and said it was mental games. No, the canvas was just, it had foam on it, an illegal foam put on it to that point. But it was a hoo-ha, it was mental games the Fury camp were using. What?
You talking about the Klitschko fight, right? When they,
yeah.
Okay, here's the thing, and I'm so glad you brought this up, because I've gotten into this with people before. Here's the thing. Number one, was that padding, with that much padding underneath the ring, illegal to have? Was that much padding underneath the ring was illegal to have? Yes, it was.
Well, according it was, but it was. But they said, but Klitschko had been training on it. Fury's hadn't.
Exactly. Klitschko been training on it. Fury hasn't. Okay. Number two, at the end of the day, if you want to tell me it was a mind game, isn't it Klitschko's responsibility not to let that mind game mess with him?
There you go.
And fight, because when you go into training camp, you go into training camp to prepare for what? To prepare to get in the ring and fight. You don't go into training camp to prepare yourself to be stretched out. I mean, if you're telling me a foam underneath the canvas stretched him out to where he played a mind game on him, then then how come somebody didn't figure that out a long time ago? Klitschko's not that weak-minded, so
there you go.
No,
absolutely. Pumpkin Glamour says, if Brook had been seriously hurt by Golovkin, the trainer would have been crucified. I totally agree with him there. The other thing was, tonight I saw Charlie Edwards, a guy with 9 fights as a pro, fighting an experienced pro fighter, right? in Casemiro.
Yeah.
Okay, 9 fights. The young lad hadn't fought anywhere near world class, nowhere near world class. But somehow or the other, he was meant to pull off the miracle and become a world champion. The guy didn't even have he wasn't even a monstrous puncher to say, okay, he's got a puncher's chance. This other guy who was fighting, who Casemiro, was a puncher, a noted puncher, and experienced fighter. And like when Ed was throwing punch would bounce off his chin, and it would, and from early doors, Edwards has been rocked by this guy Casemiro. This is what happens when you put inexperienced fighters in with world class fighters, and you see time and time again over Twitter, over Facebook, especially Twitter. You get people say, "Oh, why don't that guy fight this guy? Guy's only had a handful of fights, handful of knockouts, and he's like the betting to slice bread. This guy hasn't experience. Put him in with the top fighter in the world." And they don't understand the reasons why there's a difference between, you know, a guy who's fighting his 10th fight and not had much amateur experience, or the amateur experience he's had. It's different when you're fighting like a Lomachenko. Yeah. They're rarities. A Lomachenko, Usyk. These guys have had world amateur championships, you know, Olympic championships. They've proven a certain type of pedigree over and over and over again. Do you know what I mean? Go ahead, Bob.
No, I'm going to say you touched upon something that's extremely important. Anybody want to know the great, and rest in peace, Emmanuel Stewart said, an extensive amateur pedigree is the best thing for fighters, because what it is Lomachenko, Rigo, heck, even Gennady Golovkin, Usyk, that when you have 300-400 amateur fights, you have seen everything. You have been in every possible hostile condition there is to be, because it's the Olympics. You don't have no choice in where a fight's going to be. You don't have no choice in what fighter you fight. You don't have no choice in who you're going to face. So when you have that extensive amateur pedigree background, you pretty much have honed a craft for 400 fights, and out of 400 fights, you're still fighting the best in the world when you go to these Olympics, because it's not just the Olympics. You know, they have, the Pan Am Olympics, and, they have these other Olympic games in between the 4-year Olympics, where you're still fighting the best in the world. And that's what you're seeing on a constant basis.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to go back to the Sky Pundits team, especially Paulie Malignaggi. Paulie Malignaggi tonight spoke about Callum Smith. I don't understand what the hype is about this guy. He's fought nobody in the top 10. He's not fought a punch in his career yet. And my concern about Callum Smith is he's just waiting around to fight Badou Jack. Badou Jack, who's got a unification bout against DeGale. DeGale has fought. He's fought Porky. He fought Porky fight before. Then he fought Ibute, and he fought Durrell. 3 world-class fighters. And then before he fought for the world title, he fought Brandon Gonzalez. Those are 4 guys. Why doesn't Callum Smith fight one of those guys? Why didn't Callum Smith fight Porky? Or why doesn't he fight Brandon Gonzalez? Why doesn't he fight Bute? Why does Callum Smith, with this #1 ranking at WBC, where I don't know how he got that ranking, feel that he should be mandatory to fight these guys? He's fought nobody near the top 10. Why is Callum Smith so great? I don't understand it.
You know, the only thing I can think of is he holds a very prestigious belt in the WBC, and because he holds that prestigious belt, I guess sometimes that belt comes with certain perks. But the sad thing about it, and the reality is, when you talk the super middleweight division, Colin Smith don't come on nobody's radar. You got guys that are champions like the Durrell brothers.
There you go.
Who are probably more looked at, over Smith. As a matter of fact, you got guys that can come from 160 to 168 that you would probably look at more than you would look at Colin Smith.
I'd like to see Callum Smith fight Arthur Abraham. That's a nice little challenge for you. Fight Arthur Abraham first. An old age Arthur Abraham. Take that on.
Not just Arthur Abraham. You can fight Arthur Abraham, or you can take on the young and experienced Ramirez right now. You know what I mean? But he's he doesn't have that experience just yet, and he's young, and he's pretty much in the prospect stage. I think he holds a belt, but you could fight that guy if you want to show me what you made of, or like you said, Arthur Abrams. Heck, call out
Yeah.
Carl Froch. Say, hey, Carl Froch, come back. You know, call me something, do something. But I agree with you, man.
Back to the Paulie Malignaggi. He basically said, in a very polite way, Callum, you need to step up and fight somebody decent.
Mm-hmm.
He said that in a polite manner. He was saying, oh, you know, Callum looks good, but he needs to step it up. He needs to fight somebody of note. And then I heard somebody else say, the Sky commentary team said Bernard Hopkins is in the building and he's very impressed with Callum Smith. Now, I know Bernard Hopkins, and for what I know of Bernard Hopkins, when he says he's impressed with somebody, it means quite the opposite. He's impressed with him in the basis that, yeah, I'll have my retirement fight fighting you. That's what Bernard Hopkins thinks when he says he's impressed with somebody.
And also Bernard Hopkins, as he's gotten older in age, he tries to be a little bit more respectful for guys who has belts. But
yeah,
there is some sarcasm and cynicism when Bernard Hopkins makes that kind of a statement, and we've seen it before.
Yeah. When he went to Andre Ward, he says, "I don't want to fight you." That was sincere. That was sincere.
No, yes.
He want nothing, no part of Andre Ward.
No, he didn't. He came from across the ring to where Andre was commentating. So you're right. That was sincere. You know, and also it was sincere when he said Andre Ward need to watch out for Kovalev's punch. That was sincere also.
Yeah, there you go. Gazzo says, I reckon Eddie Hearn has done some shady deals with the ranking bodies. Oh, I'm going to have a word with Mr. Eddie. So next time I get a chance to get an interview with Eddie, I'll have a word and ask him about that.
You know what? They all do.
Go ahead.
They all do. I believe that to a certain degree, they all do, because they have to work with these sanctioning bodies because they're the promoters with the big name fighters. So it's some give and take here.
Eddie told me that he was a second-hand used car salesman. I said to Eddie, it's not like you're not a used car salesman. You're just a car salesman on the road.
That's true.
I said you're not giving yourself enough credit. So, but Malignaggi was very when you listen to Paulie, it's not about what he says in commentary. It's about what he doesn't say in commentary. You need to be listening to, because people from the UK, there's certain. I've been married to my wife almost 6 years now, and the way Americans speak when they're trying to be polite, they've got a way of kind of nice, nasty, of insulting you. So you're looking and thinking, oh, that's really nice what you're saying, but really, when you hold on a second, you're actually insulting me. So if people go back and listen to what Paulie Malignaggi was saying, he was being diplomatic with the truth. He was being nice because he was Sky. He's been paid money by Sky to say something. What Paulie Malignaggi was really saying was, you need to step up, man. You need to fight somebody with some quality, some class, before you really should be putting in the names of DeGale and Badu Jack. And you know, you've got your number one rating there, and everyone else in the building's rating you and saying that you're this and that. Frankly, I don't see it yet. You're gonna have to show me something different. That's what Paulie was really saying.
Here's the thing. Paulie speaks his mind.
There you go.
He's going to say what he thinks.
Yeah, you go.
And as a fighter, you don't never want to come right out and call another fighter a bum.
Yeah, there you go.
But as a fighter, I can tell you, when you say you need to step it up and fight somebody, you're saying two things. You're either saying, listen, stop babysitting that belt and put it on the line against someone, or you're letting the guy know that you have been fighting dudes that is like below, that isn't good enough for you to sit there and try to justify thumping your chest at me, telling me that you're that good.
There you go. Jim Wilson says, Notorious Boxing says, Froch comeback. I'm telling you, people are laughing at me now, but that Froch comeback thing, he said he swerved Golovkin. After watching that fight against Kell Brook tonight, against a welterweight, really, he'll be sitting there thinking, I'm a bona fide super middleweight. I've been in there with some of the biggest punches in world boxing. And this guy, this little short ass says he's going to come and trouble me. Nah, I could come back, I could beat this guy, I could be a legend. In his mind, he's probably thinking that, Carl Froch.
You know what? I'm gonna give everybody an example. Sugar Ray Leonard.
Camacho, remember?
Think about that. No, not the Camacho. The Hagler fight. Fight.
Yeah.
Hagler fought Hearns. Sugar Ray stood there and said, "I can beat this guy," and he came back and fought him.
I'll tell you one thing, Froch is well rested.
You know, and sometimes that's what a fighter needs. Look at Floyd. Floyd retired and came back 2 years later, and he felt good because he was well rested. Sometimes that's what a fighter needs. They just need to get some rest. You got to realize, guys, you know, who start out boxing, that you start out at 4 and 5 and 6 years old, and you box almost your entire life.
You see, I have a problem with this. I've got a guy here who's on here saying Froch would get mauled. And like, my problem with this is I don't see that happening the same way, because if you couldn't, you had 11 rounds to get rid of Martin Murray. You now fought Kell Brook, who's not even a bona fide middleweight. You really think you're just going to walk in there and maul Carl Froch? Who has mauled Carl Froch in his career? There's only one man I know, and Gennady Golovkin doesn't fight that way, who was able to get inside and bully and beat Carl Froch up properly, which was Andre Ward, because Ward got inside of Froch and beat Froch up on the inside and bullied him on the inside, right? Gennady doesn't fight that way. Gennady comes straight at you. He doesn't give you lateral movement, doesn't move his head.
Even in the Andre Ward fight, Froch had his moments.
There you go. So I don't see how Gennady's going to come in and bully Froch like that. I don't believe that.
Listen,
he may beat Froch.
Listen, and wow, man. Go back and look at Carl Froch versus Jermaine Taylor. Jermaine Taylor knocked Carl Froch down in the very first round.
Third round.
And what did Froch get up?
Got up and
oh, yeah, my bad. Yeah. Right, third round. And what happened? What did Froch do? So, Froch is, you know, when you say bully, you're telling me this is the guy who pretty much is just going to fall under the pressure. And Carl Froch is not a dude that you just going to bully.
Exactly.
Like, you know, you can't, you know, people have to watch what you're saying. Like, you're still talking about one of the top echelon guys who beat Miguel Kessler. Okay? Yeah. You know, I mean, come on, people. Let's, you know, like I said, look, the history of, you know, study guys' resume and study the names of those resumes and who they fought before you say stuff like that.
I think there are things that Froch would have in his favor. Gennady Golovkin is not fast of hand and foot. We saw that again tonight. He's not a fast hand like an Andre Ward or a, you know, he's not fast on his feet. You know, he's not going to have them sort of problems. He's more in the mold of like a Kessler, the way he moves. You know, so he can get nailed with them big booming shots that Froch has. Froch doesn't like guys that are movers. You know, he don't like movers.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
But when you come in straight lines, you not move your head against someone like Carl Froch. You've got to give Carl a shot in this fight. I think the Froch that fought John Pascal, a fresh Froch, I think would have given Gennady a lot of problems. I think Froch, that Froch. But the Froch now at 38 or 39 years old, I'm not so sure.
Hey, this is my daughter. Bend down. Come here. This is my daughter. I take to the gym with me.
Hi.
Look at that. You go put them up at Shannon. You dropping them off?
Yeah.
You dropping them off at Buffalo Wild Wings? Okay.
Yeah, I agree with you. Froch, he's just.
I'm coming back though.
He's man. I just don't see him being bullied, and on top of that, like Gennady Golovkin isn't like really swift of hand and foot, like you said.
Yep.
But Froch is he is more athletic, I think, than what people give him credit for. You know, when he fought Andre Ward, like, you know, when he fought Jermaine Taylor, you know, he has these little slick movements that he does, and he can go side to side. So I think he's a little bit more athletic than what people want to give him credit for. But his power is what Gennady Golovkin would have to come in the ring and respect, and Froch would be the bigger man in that fight.
The bigger man? Is he the stronger man, though?
Yes, I believe Froch would be the stronger man, because you're still talking about a guy who spent his career fighting 168 pounds. So to come to 168, see, people have to understand that when you fighting at 168, that means normally you walk around 180, maybe even close to 190, and you work your way down to 168 by training.
We've got somebody in the room that says that Froch got dropped by Groves. GGG was sparking. I have to say, Groves has got faster hands than Gennady Golovkin. Sorry. Froch has got much faster hands than Gennady Golovkin. What do you think there, Bo?
Yeah, Froch got
Groves got faster hands.
Groves got faster hand, but here's what people got to understand: it's not about just being dropped. A guy can be dropped. Listen, Kell Brooks, we saw Kell Brooks wobble and get hurt, and he still managed to go the amount of rounds he went to go. So it's not just about being dropped. It's about when he got dropped against Jermaine Taylor. What did he do when he got up?
And that guy who said that, who's the guy that said he got dropped? I think let me check and find out the guy who said he got dropped. Let me who's the guy that said it? Let me pull him back up. Let me get the guy who said he got dropped. Let me see who he is. Whoever said that Froch got dropped, I guess you didn't see the second fight in the rematch. How many times did Grove drop him then?
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Anyway, moving on. The boxing junkie fix says, Shalom, brothers. Shalom. Oh, for those people who don't know who my co-host is tonight, it's Bo, and he has his own show called Truth and Fact Boxing. Bo, tell them a little bit about your show.
Yeah, that guy that said that's Yusuf. That's Malachi.
Okay. Yes, brother. How are we doing, brother?
Yeah, all right. I got a show. It's called Truth and Fact about boxing. And what we do is we focus on the positive stuff about boxing. We have our skits where, we add a little humor to them. And then we have our debates where we sit down and we touch on topics that are very controversial, nobody wants to talk about. And we just flat out, we give it the truth and we put it out there. Also, I do a podcast with a couple guys from the Gods of Boxing, Colossal Boxing, and Hoop Jab. It's called The Movement, where we have special guests on the show. I was told that one of the special guests this week, last week we had Steve Cummings, the week before that we had Breadman. Now this week we're going to have Earl Spencer's trainer on the show. It's every Wednesday. Yeah, it's every Wednesday. And it's a podcast where, again, we touch upon topics that are controversial, nobody wants to talk upon, because just like Ingram, we want to bring the integrity back to the sport of boxing and, prove to everybody that, the reason why we love the sport, because I say this once, I'll say it 1,000 times. Social media is the best place you want to get your information about the sport of boxing because it's 24 hours. I mean, it's 7 o'clock over here and it's like 1 o'clock over there, and look at us. Yep. Two guys, a guy in the UK and a guy in America actually having a conversation about boxing. Where does that happen? That's from the sport, because we love the sport.
Yes. Let me think. Let's see if anyone else is saying anything else. You have to go and take a look at that Canelo fight again against Gennady Golovkin. Ask yourself the question, well, now, had Canelo been in that ring tonight, how would that fight have gone?
Oh, man, if Canelo would have been in that ring tonight, I think we probably would have seen a GGG who may have gotten hurt, because some of the punches that Kell Brooks landed, Canelo has the ability to land, and Canelo is a heavy-handed and a hard puncher himself. Right. So, yeah, and Canelo, like, Gennady Golovkin wouldn't have been able to push Canelo around as easy as he was able to push around Kell Brooks, because Canelo is a big guy. Canelo walks around 180 pounds and works his way down to 154. So, yeah, we probably would have seen a much different Gennady Golovkin fighting Canelo than we saw fighting Brooks.
Marky B's asking a question that I really seriously can't answer. It's who hit harder between Mike Tyson and Gennady Golovkin. Gennady Golovkin's yet to fight a premier middleweight in his division, and Mike Tyson's punch power, he knocked out a lot of guys who he should have knocked out. But who's the best fighter Mike Tyson knocked out? Michael Spinks? Did Michael Spinks come from light heavyweight or cruiserweight?
Yeah, Michael Spinks, who was a former heavyweight champion. He also, listen, the guys Mike Tyson knocked out at the time he knocked them out, who are the champions. Even when he fought Pinkerton Thomas, those were legitimate champions.
Okay.
Those were legitimate heavyweights. They were, people forget, Mike Tyson always came in 215, 220, fighting guys 240, 250.
Okay.
And was knocking them out. Okay. So to say who has the most power between Mike and Gennady Golovkin, I'd have to say Mike Tyson had the more power, and it's not to take nothing away from Golovkin. Golovkin definitely had some power, but when you look at the heavyweight division, and these are guys that we know with one punch, right, changes everything in a fight. What we saw tonight was Golovkin. It took a variety of punches to do that. He didn't get Kell Brooks out with just no one punch. But the thing about boxing is, as you move up in competition,
yeah, there you go.
As you move up in your level of competition, the knockouts start to come down, and that's boxing. You know, if like with Gennady Golovkin, power translate if he went up to 168 to that same ratio at 160. Who knows? Because again, as you move up, your power doesn't carry up. As you move up in weight and as you move up in level of competition, guys know how to negate that power a lot more.
I think the way to beat Gennady Golovkin, I think Curtis Stevens started to show the way of how to beat him. You've got to keep him on the back foot. You've got to keep him on the back foot and not allow him to get on the front foot and land his punches. He seems a much more effective fighter on the front foot. I don't know about Gennady's inside game. I don't think his inside game is that great. And I think the uppercut is a key to him not having a fantastic inside game. So I think you've got to put Gennady onto the back foot. You've got to put him onto the back foot, keep him on the back foot. Because if you allow him to get forward, that's where he gets his big punches. If you look at Kovalev, it's another one of those fighters. Kovalev, if you allow him to fight on the front foot, is brilliant. I don't think Kovalev has got a great inside game. And I don't think if you push Gennady back against the ropes and you to roughhouse him and push him up against the ropes and start getting your shoulder up against on his chin and started throwing punches on the inside, I think that Andre Ward would do. An old school dog, them type of guys. I'd like to have seen something like a Darnell Boone fight, a Gennady Golovkin. You know what I'm saying? An old school dog.
You know what?
Punch.
Well, you know, Darnell Boone, I think he was in camp with Gennady Golovkin.
He spars with him, yes, I know, regularly.
Yeah, he was in camp. Go back to something you said. Gabriel Rosado had some good success against Gennady Golovkin. And another way is not just keep him going backwards. Kell Brooks had his moments when he was letting his hands go.
That's because Gennady was on the back foot now, remember? The punches are pushing him backwards.
Yeah.
What you got to do is throw your shots and get out of there. Throw your shots and get out of there. And it's almost like don't allow him to set. When he sets, move off. And then when he's about to reset, bang, land your shots, get out of the way. You can't stand. Once you throw one or two shots, almost the Klitschko way. You throw one or two shots, get out of the way or hold. Do not stand directly in front of Gennady. Lateral movement, do not pull straight back because he's going to throw the big left hook. So you want to and slip to the sides. Slip out the side door with some of that Gennady.
And the minute you feel your back hit them ropes, either grab or move. Either grab or pivot your way out of there.
Exactly.
And you're right, but you got to keep on that back foot.
The other thing you do is you're coming out the back door, you're slipping to the left or to the right, or if you're going to move it, you move in with your shoulder and grab the arm and walk him back to the ropes. And then when the referee breaks you up, you do a Roy Jones. When the referee backs it up, you walk behind the referee and use the referee as your guard. Roy Jones did a lot. Use the referee as your guard to get back around the referee and then get yourself in a position to reset and fight again.
Yeah.
That's an old school move where you use the referee, use your arm, hold the guy with one arm, push him back, put your head on his shoulder and push him back against the ropes. And then as the referee says break, you walk round the referee and then land your shots. That's some old school stuff. That's the sort of stuff you got to do with Gennady Golovkin. You can't just stand and say, Gennady, I'm going to throw a couple of jabs off my back from my right hand. And no, you've got to be a bit more scientific. You've got to be old school dog. And I think it's going to be an old school dog that beats Gennady Golovkin. A guy like Andre Ward, who give Gennady Golovkin fits because he put him on the back foot and he'll keep him on the back foot because he's got the boxing IQ to do that.
Yeah, it would definitely take that, and it would definitely take someone. That's why guys like Demetrius Andrade is interesting because Andrade he has an old school dog mentality, but he's such a slick boxer. You know, he's in and out, he's moving left to right. Like Gennady would probably be afraid to let his hands go because he wouldn't know where this dude is at. Like when Demetrius fought Willie Nelson didn't know Demetrius would, he would pivot, move him, and you don't know where he's at from them angles. That's why I like James DeGale, man. I'm like, James DeGale would give him them odd looking angles that you would be kind of hesitant to let your hands go because you don't know if the guy is there or not.
See, that's what I said. Kell Brook looks great going forward. Put him on the back foot with his back against the ropes. You don't know what to do. Kell does not know what to do when his back is against the ropes. He's got not a clue. His head starts putting his head in all sorts of angles, sort of areas where he gets hit. He's got no defensive responsibilities, Kell Brook. So
that's what Carson Jones did to him.
There you go. He pushed his jab, double up the jab, put him to the rope, put his back to ropes, and that's when you close the range and start putting your shots together. And when Gennady closed the range, put him down back against the ropes, and started putting 2 and 3 punches together on the ropes against Kell Brook, what did Kell Brook do?
Oh,
yeah, I'm being asked a
exactly
question. I've been asking a question here, and I think people might not be too impressed with the question. Who hits harder, Bob Sapp or Evander Holyfield?
Oh, wow.
You can answer that. I'm not answering that. If you
oh, man.
I would say Evander Holyfield. I would say Holyfield.
I was just going to say, based off the level of competition, Evander Holyfield.
And I would say the boxer throwing the better punches than Sapp, who's I don't know. Former champion Steve Forbes told me tonight GG's best defense is offense. Take that away and he becomes very hittable. I agree with that. I would totally agree with that.
1,000% correct.
His offense is his
we saw that.
His offense is his
we
defense.
Saw that.
But all you need is someone who can neutralize that.
When Kell Brook hit Gennady Golovkin with an uppercut. Why? Because Golovkin tried to cover up and didn't cover up correctly because he's not used to covering up and going back. And Kell Brook's biggest, like Kell Brook's even he hit Gennady with a right hand over his jab, in the top of his head, and that caused Golovkin not to follow up with his own right hand. Kell Brooks, went to there were things that he did right that you can clearly see. If somebody has, like you said, the old school mentality, that old school ability, and a chin,
yep,
man, if you find a guy like that, wow. And you know what, man, props to Gennady Golovkin. The boy has a chin because regardless if you want to tell me Kell Brooks was a welterweight, Kell Brooks still is a welterweight that has a very good punch, and Gennady Golovkin was able to withstand that.
Let me throw something at you again. I said this the other night, and I'll say it again. Carson Jones fought Kell Brook twice. One at welterweight, one at middleweight. I couldn't see the difference in the punch power to me. I really couldn't. Good evening, Al Red Sox. And the Sports Junkie Fix says Steve would be a great guest for the show. I totally agree with you. He would be a great guest for the show. So what are your thoughts on that? The Carson Jones fight at light middleweight and at welterweight.
Talking about against Kell Brooks, right?
Yeah.
I think first I want to say I think the second fight was probably an early stoppage.
Yep, I think so too.
I think that fight was an early stoppage. But I'm gonna tell you something. I truly believe the first fight and the second fight is one of those fights where when it was over, Kell Brooks was like, "Whew, I'm not gonna see him. I don't want to see this guy again." Yeah, see, even though Kell Brooks had power, it's just sometimes, man, you get in there with certain fighters, and they just have your number. Like they just know how to make it hard for you.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get in there with guys, and like you have some guys who. Oh, by the way, the when I say if you watch the history of pugilism, shout out to Malachi because that's what he says, and that's kind of like a phrase. Once I heard it, it was like, man, I got to use that because that's so an appropriate phrase. But sometimes you fight these guys like Carson Jones who have the mindset that says, listen, I can't outbox you, but I can out-tough you. So they go in there with that mindset. Maidana, when he fought Floyd Mayweather, he knew I can't outbox you, but I can outfight you. And he tried to make it into that a fight. So you have some guys that just have that, that I don't give a shit attitude, and they go in there looking to just show you what they can do more than trying to win the fight. They just want to show you what they can do, and that's what makes it a hard fight.
Exactly, I totally agree with you there. I've got some people coming in. Al Red Sox says had a great live streaming the fight with chat, promoted you, Ingram, and the awesome work you do. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Spence versus Porter. Very quickly, your thoughts?
If that fight happens, I don't know if it's going to happen just yet because Sean Porter's father, Kenny Porter, a couple of things he said kind of worry me. But if that fight happens, Spence versus Porter, I favor Spence because Porter's style coming directly at him. Spence is a heck of a body puncher. Spence is very strong, so Porter's not going to be able to run him over. So
yep.
Yeah, I definitely favor Spence in that fight. But you know, Porter may change up on us and show us like he did with Thurman that he actually has some good boxing skills with the jab and some of his movement. But I just don't see him coming in bullying Errol Spence, and those body shots by Errol Spence is just so tremendous, man. So yeah, I would definitely favor Spence, but I could see Porter making it a very hard fight.
Problem with Spence is he seems to fight with his chin up in the air when he pulls straight back from punches, and he seems the type of guy who's going to take big shots because of the way he fights. He doesn't. He's not one of guy. I wouldn't call it. Spence another one of these guys who like to throw his punches and hurt guys, but is not very. He's not very aware of the punches coming back at him. He was getting caught by a 40 or 41-year-old Bundu. Do you know what I mean? I'm thinking to myself, there are openings there for guys who can dig. Because he's got big shots, so he's not defensive.
Yeah, I was to say Spence like Gennady Golovkin, his defensive responsibility. Like Spence wants to get at you so bad.
Yeah, you go.
That he wants to get at you so bad because he wants to prove that, you know, he wants to just get his hands on you so bad that he neglects his defensive responsibility sometimes. And the funny thing about it is after he gets hit a couple times, then you'll see him try to use his defensive responsibility. But, you know, this is boxing, man. All it takes is one punch and you ain't going to get that chance again.
There we go. Can you give us a preview very quickly of Chocolito's fight coming up shortly?
Oh, man, you got Roman Gonzalez fighting Cuadras. Now, you have a dominant guy who's been dominating the division winning titles, and then you have a dominant champion who's he is a very good. The way that Cuadras moves in and out, and he gets there in and out, and the way if you're lazy with your punches, how Cuadras can come over the top and hit you 3 times if you leave a punch out there is just amazing. His athleticism is amazing, and he's such an accurate puncher. My only issue with Cuadras is sometimes he gets a little wild, sometimes he throws his punches wild, and he's another one that needs to work a little bit on his defense. All right. When you get inside of Cuadras, you can hit him, and that's what Roman Gonzalez is excellent at. Roman Gonzalez is an excellent pressure inside fighter, and regardless of whatever disadvantages Gonzalez has, he's able to get inside of you. Now, I picked Cuadras. I'm going to go on record and say, hey, I picked Cuadras because Roman Gonzalez didn't look good when he fought Arroyo, and it looks like he's slowing down. But the one thing about boxing is great fighters, if Roman Gonzalez is a great fighter, great fighters can have a subpar performance, but then when they end up with another elite fighter, they raise it up that extra notch and that extra level. So we're going to find out if, you know, Gonzalez goes up high above that elite status into the upper echelon status. But Cuadras, just the fact that I know movers and guys who can, you know, with really good hands and counterpunching gives Gonzalez problems sometimes. Yeah. That's what makes this fight very interesting.
Okay. Thank you so much for that fantastic breakdown. There's 40 minutes till Andy Ruiz fights Franklin Lawrence. Any thoughts about Andy Ruiz's fight against Hughie Fury?
Oh, yeah. Finally, about time Andy Ruiz stepped up his level of competition.
Well, he was meant to fight Ike Ibuchi, the president.
Remember that? I'm sorry.
He was meant to fight the president, Ike Ibuchi. Remember that?
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah, Ike Ibuchi. What a career that guy would have had if he hadn't had those problems.
Oh, man.
Oh, God. The fight when he fought David Tua, I would never forget that. Oh, man. This is a very interesting fight because you're still talking about a Fury and, you know, Hugo, and you're talking about Andy Ruiz. So you're talking about two heavyweights. And this is a step up for both of these guys. This is a really step up for both of these guys. So I'm expecting the winner of this fight to be looking forward to probably start being mentioned amongst some of these sanctioning bodies top 10.
Okay. I think we're gonna have to wrap this up. What were your thoughts? Oh, what are our thoughts finally on Canelo versus Liam Smith? I think that my personal opinion, I think Liam Smith's going to give Canelo a good fight, but I just think experience will tell. I think Canelo will take over on Liam Smith the second half of the fight. Personally, and probably stop him late on. Your thoughts, Bo?
I think Liam Smith is. I think Liam Smith could possibly surprise everybody, because a lot of people think that Canelo picked him because he's the weaker of the 154-pound guys. So if Liam Smith has a chip on his shoulder, he might want to prove that to be wrong. Now, he's not the Bev Smith brother, but I'm in agreement with you. They did pick him because they felt this was an easier path. Could it backfire on him? To a certain degree, I can say yeah, but the problem is Canelo's experience and Canelo's skill set. Liam Smith haven't showed me anything where he can equal his skill set. So Canelo's skill set and Canelo's punching power, could be the big difference, because again, Canelo has been in there with some of the top names in boxing, and Liam Smith, you know, he hasn't, and we don't know what Liam Smith has to offer, because he kind of won a belt in quiet. You know, those of us that follow the sport know, you know, he won the belt and who he fought.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's too many advantages in Canelo way, but just like tonight, I'm hoping Liam Smith at least goes out and shows us something.
Yeah. I think that's about it for now, because everyone's getting ready for the other boxing. Is there anything else you want to mention? Talk about your show, where they can find you, Bob?
Oh yeah, you guys can find me on YouTube at Truth and Facts About Boxing. You can also catch me on Twitter at Truth_Fact Box 1. And just you know, be the brand is boxing. So don't be a fan of a fighter, be a fan of the sport. You know,
absolutely.
You don't have to be like me and Ingram, because you know we're 24/7 here. You know, I'll be up as late as Ingram is tonight doing some stuff. So you don't have to be like us, but just respect the game, give these fighters respect, and just, you know, applaud these dudes when they get in the ring and they put it on the line for you, because at the end of the day, these guys, like I said, boxers aren't guys who become boxers because they had nothing to do. Fighters become fighters because they're trying to get away from something because of their environment or things they've been through in their life.
Well said, Bo. All I can say about Bayloric TV is check out the videos that we've got now. We've got some nice new interviews up there for you guys to check out with some of the big names in boxing, including Michael Buffer, Eddie Hearn, Tom Loeffler, and Tris Dixon. Exclusive with Michelle Joy Phelps from Behind the Glove. So Behind the Gloves. So check it all out. All right, I think it's the end of the show for us. Once again, thank co-host Bo from Truth and Fact Boxing, and myself, Ingram Jones from Bayloric TV. And let's enjoy tonight's boxing. I'm out. Take care.